So let's address the elephant in the room. So we had someone make a comment about why do TIs are self-centered. Or some things are just when TIs speak about the things that they go through, it's only to sensitize and it makes them self-centered. And he said it's pretty much only a few real TIs on here. Well, one thing you have to understand is that the program is a demonic program. So that means that the devil runs that program. That means that this is something that's not doing out of honesty, but it's being done with ill intent. You know, especially in America where you have a right to privacy, then there's people that's actually violating your privacy by looking through devices and watching and monitoring you in your own home and the privacy of your home where you're supposed to be safe and secure in all of your possessions and everything that you have. Okay, this is what's known. So this is a demonic program. If you're being, this is just even for any citizen, even for anybody that lives inside of America, if you're being robbed of that right to privacy, then this is not a good thing. This is it has ill intent. So this isn't self-centeredness. This is bringing awareness to a certain thing that's been brought to the attention of somebody that may know or may not know. There's people that are a part of the program that may pose as what they call targeted individuals. Then you might have some that don't even know what's going on because they're not that um, advanced to the point that they can pick up on certain things that's happening to them. For me, it's a spiritual thing. I've been made aware spiritually. So some of us are very, very spiritual beings. And those that are very spiritual beings, we would be scrutinized or under certain observation by people that are spiritual beings as well. So I was watching Shonda Inspires, and she said that there's only two voices that you hear, like two types of voices that you would hear. You would hear the voice of God, and you would hear the voice of the devil. These are things that I know. These are things that you have to understand in this reality. Either God is telling you to do stuff, or the devil's telling you to do things, and these things reside within us. So whether if God is in you, and you're going to hear good things. You're going to hear and get good insight. If the devil is in you, you're going to hear bad things and get bad directions or bad influences. So that's one thing that you have to understand about the voices that people hear, that we're all going to hear, that everybody's going to be confronted with. If there's no goodness in you, there's nothing that's going to be able to deter or try to prevent you from over being overtaken by bad thoughts or bad ideas or bad voices telling you to do bad things. But if there is good in you, this is the thing that can block you from doing bad things. But if there's no evilness in you, only thing that you're going to produce is good things. So these are the things that we have to understand. Now, I know that there's not a community of people like me. If there was, we would come together because that's what I'm about, togetherness. But as I stated before, I'm me personally, I'm the only person I know like me. I don't know anybody else that is like me. If you're experiencing something like me, that means that you're you're like me and you're going through the same thing that I'm going through, which is kind of like no, they're not. So he wanted to us to speak on Maine, the thing that happened in Maine, which there was another mass shooting, and the guy was had a mental disorder, or he was mental. So now that these things are known, why wasn't he a targeted individual? They're watching people like me. When you watch me and watch all of my steps, I'm sane. I have a very sound mind, and if I hear voices, I hear the voice of good, not the voice of anything wicked. So I don't have anything wicked instructing me to do wicked things. I have good. You monitor me, and you watch me everywhere I go, so you know that this isn't somebody that we need to watch. So if this guy was a retired whatever he was, and he had mental illnesses and this, that, and the third, then he should have never ever been allowed to get to that point, even if this is a real thing, because like I told you, a lot of this stuff is psychological operations. But if you allowed him to get to that level of escalation, to the point where he's armed with a gun and in schools, but you can monitor me everywhere that I go. If I go to the store, you're in the store. If I go to play lottery numbers, you're watching me play lottery numbers. These are not things that's in my mind. These are not things that you're just making this up. These are things that I know. These are things that I know because there's a system of people that I know is behind it. Because some of us are very, very spiritual beings, and we feel the spirit. We'll feel the spirit of that person in the store, or he has ill intent, or we'll feel the spirit of our family, or they have ill intent, or the spirit of the girl. Yeah, she's with those people, and as you understand that she's actually with those people, if you're in a whole nother state doing something completely different, and she's able to say, you be riding around, how do you know that I'm doing this unless you're actually with those people? But you already know that. And not only that, but for you to say that somebody has a chemical imbalance, these are medical terms. Maybe these are things that you feed to the person. For me, let me tell you about me and my hearing of voices. This is not no voice to scold with me. This is the voice of God with me. Same way Moses heard the voice of God, same way you hear the story of Jesus hearing God, same way you hear anybody else hearing about God. Some of us actually hear God's voice, and there's no voice to scold with us. So with me, and this is the death of my relationship with God. The mother of my child tried to put me on child support, and the voice of God said, no, that is wrong, because she tried to do it with ill intent. She didn't do it from you can't take care of your daughter, so I'm going to put you on child support. No, this came from ill intent. You're going to have a daughter that you never see, and your mother's going to have a granddaughter that she'll never know. And if you come looking for her, you're going to be on child support. So I went looking for her. And just like she said, you're going to get put on child support. I had to go to her county where she lived at and go to the courts and then get into my daughter's life, because she tried to keep me out of my daughter's life. These are the ways of the world, of the people conduct themselves. People are very empty when it comes to having a soul. These are soulless people. Why would you try to rob a child of their father? Why would you, literally, try to keep your father out of your life and try to shortchange that child's growth and everything that child is entitled to? This is something that's a wicked thing. You don't do that unless there's an actual reason for doing that. But you don't you don't restrict a child from being into this world that has been planted to be in this world. The child was planned to come here. When me and my child's mother, we was going to get married. We was going to do everything that you were supposed to do as far as having a fruitful life for that child. That was all planned. Now, she took it upon herself because she did something that I didn't agree with, and I may have got a little bit cold to her, to the point where I didn't want to have any kind of, dealings with her sexually. So she took it upon herself before my daughter was born to flee with my daughter. And she this was something that she conspired to do before it was done. And once my daughter came, I found out. God allowed me to know because she had a phone that I had in her name, but I had got it back when she left. So one of her friends had sent her a text through the phone, and I seen it like, oh, my daughter's being born right now. So I went to her county and I tried to see if they had something with my name on the birth certificate. It didn't. So I brought the police to her house to get the date and everything, so I can go ahead with going to court, so I can get into my daughter's life, so I can get custody with my daughter. So as we go through the process, I get custody of my daughter. We go to court, and the judge is favorable. Like, oh, this is an honorable man. He's somebody that's trained to be in his child's life. So my daughter's mother knew somebody in court, and they conspired against me and took the judge that was favorable to a father that wanted to be in his child's life to somebody that was favorable to them that was in the courts. So they gave me a high child support, and after that, they like the maximum amount of child support they gave me. I was an office manager. I worked in the office with suits and ties and all that stuff, and they start taking all of my money. So eventually, I started to lose everything, from my job, from my car to my job to my house and all this stuff. So God spoke to me, and God said, "Look, what you need to do is do this in order to get off of that." So I followed the voice of God, which had to go through a certain process in order for me to get off of that child support. So that's what I did. That's the process that I went through. And when I did go there, it wasn't like I was lying. I said everything that God told me to say. And this is how you know it's the voice of God, because it's the voice of good. Let me have your mind so you would know what is good and pleasing, so you would know my will for you, which is good and pleasing. You losing everything in something that's your will, that's not something that's good and pleasing. So I follow the voice that I've heard from God. Not the voice of the devil, and you get upset and because you losing everything, just be that way to everybody. No. That's what the voice of the devil would tell you to do in that situation, because you're losing everything. Turn to drugs, turn to alcohol, run to the streets, do this, blah, 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 and all that. And the third, no. Some of us hear good and some of us hear bad. So when you understand these certain things, then you would know that there's actually two voices that you can only hear, that you can either submit to one and omit the other, or you could give in to both of them, and just be a balance. It'll just be you trying to fight for balance and keep your sanity. But God is having a sound mind. So everything that I do comes with a sound mind. If it's hearing voices, then you're hearing a good voice. You can be tempted by stuff that's just not good, but the goodness would overshadow anything else. So by you wanting to understand that system, you would have to get it from someone who's actually experiencing it, so you can get the actual feel of it. Like me, I give you the actual feel of it, because I let you know it's not me being bothered by anything. This is a spirit that can't be broken. This is somebody that won't submit. You will get the actual the what it actually is from me. I don't know about anybody else, but if there was somebody else that was doing it, they would be in my circle. They would reach out and they would say, "Hey, bruh, let's me and you talk. Let's FaceTime. Let's because I'm going through the same thing, and the more of us it is, the better it is for us, the worse it is off for them. But no, everybody do their own thing. You know, some people do it for clout, or some people want to be a targeted individual. Some people want to be that. But no, I don't promote anything. Only thing I do is allow them to know that their program, you know, y'all need to tweak your program a little bit. Maybe get rid of your program or use your program to do something else, you know. But he should have been watched and monitored the way that they watch and monitor me. Like, I don't even have friends. I don't have no friends. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. And if I do anything, it's not nothing that requires any kind of supervision or any kind of observation. It doesn't require that. What they do is because of, you know, they hate God. And that's the only thing that it could be. They hate God, and maybe they want me to submit to something that I simply just can't submit to. And that's never going to happen. So that's why they may watch and monitor me. But if you know that there's a program of targeted individuals, and one of the ways that you get targeted is through being ruled as mentally insane, and now you have to watch somebody, and you know he has a chemical imbalance, and you have to keep a close eye on them, then that's what the program should actually be for. So he should have never gotten to that point. So the system failed. And this is where the people should come into place, because they know what's actually going on. If you know that there's people that's being spied and watched, but you will still allow people to shoot kids, and there's mass shootings and stuff going on, which you know, I already know what that be about, you know. But if y'all know that these things actually go on, and you allow them to go on, then you know, shame on y'all. You know, shame on y'all. You know, and that's just what that is. So for a Ti to come on here and want to, you know, talk about certain things that they see on the news, that wouldn't be it would have to be scripted, because there's no way you can come on here and do that. Because I had my experience with the news, and the experience with the news hasn't been good. And the news is very, these are sick people, and they need healing. You know, the people that are on the news reporters, they need healing. These aren't even, they have their soulless beings. They bring you news with a straight face, no emotions. Some news are so devastating and heart moving, like they are heartbreaking news stories, that if you really wanted the people to feel, you should deliver them with the same emotion that you really want the people to feel, as opposed to bringing um, sensitive information to the people with these straight faces, like you are just this cold-hearted, callous person. I don't feel nothing about, you know, these 3 people over here in Chicago that just got shot. I'm just going to relate this story to you and give you, and back to you, Jim. So the news is sick in itself. So why would I watch sick people? Why would I watch them, as opposed, not watch them? Why would I watch them when this is what they want you to do? They get paid off of views. The more there's news coverage, the more there's people watching, the more money that's coming in for them. So they are recipients of all the bad in the world. If there's no bad events to cover, then that means less money for them. But the more news, or the more bad news that there is, the more money it is for them. So these aren't people that don't want bad news. They get paid off of bad news. Bad news become, where a regular shooting generates attention, a mass shooting generates more attention. So when there's news coverage around a mass shooting, and these things been going on for years, it's like nothing new under the sun. These are, some of them are staged events, some of them are real events. But staged events, they have a lot of news coverage because there's a lot to gain from a lot of sources. So this be the reason behind a lot of people covering certain things. Like even on YouTube, they just had a super hot, what's his name? The he's this funny. He's this real comedic rapper, and he's not a rap. He says he's not a rapper. So when he just released something, and then all of a sudden there's a lot of people taking that battle that he had with, I don't even know the basketball player's name because I don't watch basketball. I don't watch football. I don't watch baseball. I don't have any reason to sit around and watch any kind of news. I don't have no reason to watch the news because it's always something that's not good. And then after they tell you not good news, then they tell you something good. You don't do that. You want to keep people in a somber state and then switch the mood up by telling them, oh, Anthony just got won his first spelling bee. You just told us about a mass shooting or a war going on in Iraq or North Korea or Israel or wherever. And then right after that, you leave from there and tell us about, a first grader winning his creating his first drawing his first picture. So this is a sickness that the news or people, I don't know, this is the reason why people are sick, because they get in sickness from sick people. The news reporters and all these people are sick people, and they're broadcasting sickness to people. So why would I partake in anything that the news has when only thing that they do is broadcast a sickness? I'm not a part of that. This is a part of being saved. If you're separated from that, then good. Then you know the goodness of God, because now you're saved from that. So I am saved from that. I don't have to watch the news to know what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. If the weather's good tomorrow, good, thank God. If the weather's going to be bad tomorrow, good, thank God. This is the only thing that I'm concerned about is God. So if I know that the news has nothing to do with God, why would I focus my attention on the news? But on this here platform, on this this thing right here, this YouTube, there's a lot of people that's talking about God, and some of them might misrepresent God, but then there's some like me who I really won't allow you to do that. So as me being who I am, I have to be vocal as that's who God chose me to be. So if there's a system set up that's actually targeting people or mistreating people and doing certain things, and God put me here to experience that and gave me a mouth and gave me eyes to see and ears to hear and a mouth to speak about it, then these are the reasons why you would see a person like me commenting on certain things. I don't want to be a part of a group of people that claim to be a targeted individual. Targeted individuals are everybody. Every last single person in this world is a targeted individual. When they have a commercial about this, they're targeting you. When they have a commercial about that, they're targeting you. So everybody in this world is a targeted individual. The news is targeting you. You're the target of that news, the target audience. When you hear something like an audience, what audience are you trying to gear towards? You're gearing towards a certain audience. If you're talking about rap, your target audience is the people in the urban community. If you're talking about country music, your target audience is people that listen to country music. If it's rock, you're targeting that particular audience. So everybody's a targeted individual. Like me, I stated, I am not a targeted individual. God allowed me to know that you are greater than that. You are not a target. It's people that surround you that are targets. They can't target you because you don't bend or you don't fold. The spirit that I gave you don't bend or fold. You have that spirit that they know that cannot be broken. They would have to get rid of you to break your spirit. And even after they get rid of you, they still can't get rid of you because you will always be. That's the spirit that you have. So why would I care anything about the news when I know that the news is sick? So this isn't me ranting or making a complaint about anything. This is me just addressing somebody making a comment. And no, you don't have to, address everything that you see, but some things need to be addressed so that you can get an understanding of what needs to be understood. So, no, I would never, go into details about something that the news could cover on their own. If you want to hear more about that, then get that news coverage. But what I can tell you is that if y'all know that this person is sick, if this was a real actual event that happened and y'all know that he was sick, then the system failed because you're sitting here watching, you're going around watching people that are harmless to others, but not watching people that are actually harmful to others. People that actually have these high-powered guns, people that have these high-powered or this ill and violent mind. Y'all not watching them, but y'all watching people that are not like that. And not only that, but y'all actually sending and staging people inside their lives to make them seem like they're like that. So no, I wouldn't make any kind of reference to that shooting. I would never do that. That After those mass shootings in school shootings and stuff like that, after that was brought to my attention that these were all psychological operations, the Trayvon Martin and all that stuff was all psychological operations. There was no need for me to even continue to watch the news because it's all bad news and it all has an agenda and it's agenda based. And if I'm not a part of that agenda, nor do I care to be part of that agenda, why would I partake in that agenda? Now, when it comes to my people like Little J and people like King Von and stuff like that, in order for you to guide the misguided, these are certain things that you might have to expound on because they don't have a certain level of a sound mind. Only thing that people understand on here is money. And what I do, I don't do for money. I would never do for clout. I don't clout chase. I already had fame in school. I already always somewhere I'm going. People always comment, and I don't care nothing about fame or clout or currency. I don't care nothing about any of that. But what I do care about is the mental state of the people. And this is one thing that God gave you is a sound mind. So if I see people operating outside of a sound mind, and as you having a sound mind, the only thing that you can do is try to show them what a sound mind is by speaking, having a sound thought, sound speech. So, yeah, and that would be a disability. You have you have a disability to be like the people that are just not good. They're not good. So I can't be like these people. So that's my disability. So some people they say you have a yeah, I have my mind mentally disabled to be a conformist or to be one that assimilates to something that's just not what it is. Like I was telling you, when they got the video, and you see on their video they make this shocked expression like and then you want to go look at that video, be like, oh, what are you talking about? Even with Night Trillis or whatever their name is, the two brothers that make the videos talking about the Illuminati and the rap game and stuff like that. Those are the same people. I don't do what they do. I would never do that. My thing ain't for clout. I don't care nothing about how many people subscribe because my subscriber is God, and that's the only thing I subscribe to is God, you know. So, and that's the righteousness of God, not the wickedness of whatever y'all believe God is. But that's who I subscribe to. I subscribe to God, and God subscribed to me. So as long as God is subscribing to me and watching me, then I'm required to keep putting out and providing that information for God, because that's what God requires of me, to speak the truth, to speak the truth, to live my truth, to live in my truth. If they're lying, don't conform to their ways. Do not conform to the ways of the world. Do not conform to them, but conform to the ways that I already gave you. I gave you a sound mind. That's all you need. And you're able to see what it is that they do. So you don't need to adhere to that nor that. And if nobody follows you, good. It's better for you. That's better for you. We learn from, um, so what we learned from what Judas taught us was that everybody that follows you aren't with you. And we also learn from Delilah that everybody that's with you are not with you. So the less people that you have that follows you, the better. Because amongst those in the crowd, life lessons have taught us that everybody is not for you. So there's not everybody's not going to be good. If everybody's good, that's an imbalance. If everybody's bad, that's an imbalance. So what you have to find out is who amongst you is good and who's bad. And from me, my experience with the media is that those people can care less about their communities. They are never people that's actually from the communities that they report in, so they have no connection to the people that they're reporting or relaying that music to, which to me is, is kind of like a sickness, for them to, do this clean cut, makeup on, hair done, um, and just have no kind of connection to the people that they're relaying this information to. And it's more sick that the people feel a connection to people that actually have no connection to them. So this is a sickness that's just ongoing, and it's an ongoing sickness. So you don't partake in an ongoing sickness because that sickness will get inside of you as well. When they had that Sandy Hook shooting and all those kids were killed, and I barely heard the news, and I bawled uncontrollably. I just couldn't even control myself. Just hearing that news, I just fell down on my face, just kept bawling. My grandmother was alive, and she was just knew like, oh man, like he really felt that. He really feel that pain that they experienced. And later on, I got to learn how the people play. So why would I continue to beat myself up by listening to bad news after bad news after bad news? So I don't even pay the news no attention. There are superficial people gearing towards a people that's a fiend for just this information. They're a fiend for bad news. You all the time, or you hear them. That is so sad. That is so sad. That is so. That's all you hear when it comes to people talking about. This lady happened to this lady, and this happened to them over there. This is so sad. Why would you want to keep hearing sadness? Why would this is the reason why the world is in the state it's in, because it has an affinity to hear sad news and bad news. No good news. If the world was uh, catered towards receiving good information, then it would produce good people. This is why I make the saying, be righteous, you will see righteous. You be divine, you will see divine. You be good, you see good. But as it stands, you hear bad news, so you see bad news. That's how it is. If you see bad news, there's going to be bad news. So it's a people that has a knack and an affinity to hear bad news. So don't bring me no bad news, because I don't want to hear that. My spirit is not for that. That's for the spirit of good. I'm for the good news. So that is that. So yeah, I wouldn't, consider that person a TI and he flipped and just went and got a. You should have been watching him. And if he was a targeted individual, then the system failed, because they should have nipped that in the bud. He wouldn't have been able to get he wouldn't have got from point A to point B if they was actually monitoring him. So if anybody wants to be blamed for that, it should be, your law enforcement or whoever it is that runs the program, Department of Homeland Security or whoever they may be. Whoever runs the program should have had tabs on this particular person to the point where he couldn't even completed the task that he wanted to complete. So you have to be mindful about what you're saying on certain people's posts, because the TIs that's actually TIs, they don't really know that they're being watched and monitored because they're that insane and that sick. So they would never be in a position to make a video about the program, because they are actually, there's sick people out in this world that are completely out of their mind and don't have any kind of mental sense. So they are actually mentally insane and have no sanity in them at all. So these are people that you have to watch because they need monitoring. And this is where the world as a whole should come in and be a participant in that type of watching, or that type of neighborhood and community mobbing, to watch and care for their fellow humans, not to watch and mob and stalk and harass and pull and push buttons and get paid and handouts and this, that. No, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be able to do that to your fellow human beings. This is why it's going to be an ongoing sickness until that sickness is cured. And I guess we're in the process of curing that sickness, or either everybody's going to get infected, because that's just the way it goes. So, um, to answer your question, this isn't self-centeredness. If it was self-centeredness, you wouldn't be able to make any kind of reference to help and assist others. If you were self-centered, you wouldn't even be in the program, because the world is revolved around self-centeredness. Self-centeredness is greed. The world is ran off of greed. So self-centeredness is, in all actuality, the key or the primary factor in greed and narcissism. Narcissism is self-centeredness. So to say that a person that you're watching is a narcissist, that's actually oxymoronic, because it's actually contradictory. The narcissist would be watching you and copying you. You wouldn't be watching the narcissist and, formulating any kind of opinions or ideas about them. In fact, I know that they have fake pages about me that's going around, because somebody that I knew from my past came up to me and showed me a page of somebody that was previously talking to them. So you have fake pages and things like that staged with me, with about me, that you never thought that a person would be made aware of, but we are. you know so everything that's done in the dark normally comes to light, and that's what it is. The news is a sickness, and the people that receives that sickness, they become sick as well. The people that has an ear for that sickness become sick as well. So we don't, when I say we don't, I'm talking about me and God and those that are with God. We don't care nothing about the news or the media, because these are, they're normally liars, you know, and that's what that is. So, peace.